So, hello. My name's Owen. I work at BitSmith Games with Paul here and Robbie, who's supposed to be sitting there. And I just want to say thank you to the lovely Microsoft for having us here, and Josh, my personal fashion icon, and Games Ireland, and the Imagine Cup. I was a judge in the Imagine Cup yesterday, which is it was a real honor to be asked to do that, but it's also it's very stressful as well. I'm sure some of you guys have gone for Dare to be Digital. I remember entering that years ago, and the arduous process of waiting for the judgment to fall upon us was really, really stressful, and I couldn't get that out of my head. Anyway, so at BitSmith, we made this game called Coup. We made it using Unity, and I'm going to be talking about Unity today, and also a little bit about our game as well. The structure of the talk is that, I'm going to give you guys an introduction to Unity. I'm going to put something together quite quickly that will hopefully demonstrate the things that I like about it. Then I'm going to open up the project for Coup. And if you guys have any specific questions, I'll show you how we achieved or hacked together the various things that are there. And then I'm going to try and leave a good chunky bit of time at the end for questions. I find myself personally that questions are more useful than me just waffling at you. It's hard to know what to talk about, so I've kind of split it across, hey, this is an introduction to Unity, and hey, if you use Unity, ask us questions and we'll tell you how we did things. So this is what Coup looks like. I have a video here that I will show you in case you haven't seen it before. Thanks so much. Go back here. So, Unity. So first of all, an opinion. I'm a nerd, and I'm going to go ahead and assume that most of you guys are nerds as well. And part of our culture is obsessed about arguing about things and having opinions and stuff like that. And there's all sorts of opinions about which engine is better and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe that there is actually an answer to that question. That's like asking which knife is the best knife. Well, the bread knife is great if I want to cut some bread, and a little knife is great if I want to peel a potato. The best engine is the one that's right for the thing that you're working on, and more so than that, the best engine is the one that you are productive in, the one that you feel productive in. And for me, that's Unity. I love Unity. Unity, it has the right blend for me of being able to do whatever I want to do very, very quickly, but also has the flexibility that, well, I guess the flexibility of being able to do whatever I want to do. So what do I love about it? It's fast. And I'm talking about this as a game designer more than a coder. There's people in the audience here, probably most of the people in the audience here who are far better programmers than I am. As a game designer, like I'm very impatient, and I want to be able to see my idea moving on the screen as quickly as possible. And Unity allows me to do that. It allows me to have an idea and start playing around with the specifics of it very, very quickly. It's also very, very fast to learn. You know, within a few weeks of picking up Unity, you're going to be making games. You know, as well as working in BitSmith, I have the pleasure of teaching in DIT and in Pulse. And you know, when I'm teaching Unity, people are making games in the very first class. It's that fast. It's multi-platform, which is great. You know, it's brilliant to be able to make for stuff for PC and Xbox and iOS and web all at the same time, and that's an excellent thing to be able to do. And as I mentioned before, it's very, very flexible. You know, there's tools that are, I like the fact that it's easy to learn Unity, and there's tools that are easier to learn, but they're just not as flexible, you know. Some of the really simple 2D engines, you know, you can get stuff up and running incredibly easily, but unless you're making the very specific things that those engines are designed to do, you're a bit lost. So, demo. I'm gonna try and make a game. Hopefully it'll work. So what am I making? I'm gonna make a pachinko style game. Do you know what a pachinko style game is? A game where, let's say for example, there was a cannon up at the top and it was shooting it around at a bunch of pegs and bouncing around. Yes, well, that's what we're going to be making. Okay, so this is Unity. I'll have a very brief tour of the interface itself, and I'll just get straight to making. And hopefully through that process show you what I like about it. So we've got our hierarchy over here. That's a list of everything that's in the scene. So anything that we're looking at right now that's in our level is going to be there. If this was a Mario Brothers game, you'd have Mario, you'd have all the Koopas, you'd have all the boxes and the backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. The scene view is our view into the game world itself, where we can use to do level design, lay stuff out, put it all down there. Our game view is what the player is actually going to see. And over here, our inspector gives us information about anything that we have selected at that time. So this is a pachinko style game. So the first thing that I'm going to create is a ball. So I'm going to play this amazing game right now. Now this may not seem like much, but I tell you, back in my day, to get a ball rendering on the screen took a hell of a lot of time. And the fact that I'm able to do it with 3 clicks now makes me very happy as a designer. Okay, so the whole way that I use Unity, and there's lots of Unity developers in the audience and you may do things differently, but the way I use it and the way I think about it is the layering of simple things onto each other to create something interesting. And that layering happens with components. So I'm going to turn this ball into a physical object by adding a component. And now it falls. Again, this may not seem like very much, but to get that working the old-fashioned way, it takes a very long time. Okay, so as we can see, when I have my ball selected, I can see all relevant information about it over here, including where it is and what kind of functionality it has attached over to it. I'm going to make my cannon that's going to shoot my ball. So I'm just trying to fashion a kind of, yes. So that'll do for my Canon object there. And we'll put that up the top of the screen. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm manipulating it in the scene view here, which is what I use to kind of lay everything out. But I can see at the same time what's happening in my game view. And that as well is incredibly useful. That's good there. Okay, cool. So I've got my bowl and I've got my cannon. So now I'm going to write some code to control these things. So, you can use lots of different languages to program Unity. Personally, I use C#. You can do a lot of the same stuff in JavaScript, and it is quite similar, but you have more control and more options with your C# stuff. The way it's structured is when you start up a new script, you have your start function, that's for setting stuff up, and your update function, that runs every frame. So, think about what this cannon needs. It needs a speed at which it's going to turn around. It needs a force at which it's going to propel the ball. And it needs a ball to shoot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the kind of keyboard's controls working on this thing. So before I was doing Unity, most of the game development I did was in Flash, and I love it the way, when I'm working with Unity, all the kind of basic functionality that I need to create a game is there right out of the box. You know, all of the kind of collision stuff, movement stuff, it's all right there. And we have all these functions like this one, rotate around, which is just going to take anything and rotate it upon one of the axes. I call that speed. Cool. Oh, not cool. Ah, no. So now, oh, don't forget to attach it. Now we already have this thing rotating around. Don't have keyboard control yet, but I'll chuck that in now. Cool, and now I'm controlling it with my keyboard. So it's you can see there, like, when I want to try something out, the amount of code that I have to write to get something up on screen, the amount of time that I have to spend getting something up on screen is very, very low. And that's, I mean, that to me is the main value of this. I'm going to do one more thing, and then we'll see where we are. So I'm going to get this ball firing. All the inputs in Unity are, well, you can use these generic terms for them, like horizontal axis and jump button, which is great because it means when you go to port them onto other platforms, you don't have to rewrite the code, you just specify what that jump button is. Oops. So anything that we create as public variables in the code will appear in our inspector here. And the reason why that is good, I will show you now. Oop, I need to take the colliders off this. So this is all working now, but the force that I'm applying to the ball just, it's not nearly enough. So I can actually manipulate the code while the game is running, which is incredibly handy in terms of trying to balance the game design. So that force is at 1 now. We'll hack that up to 10 and see how that looks. Still nothing. Go 100. Still nothing. Or is that coming out there? Go 1,000. Ah, that's something. So that ability to be able to change the values of game objects while the game is being played gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility and freedom in terms of the game design. It means that if I have some sort of enemy, I don't need to work out exactly what his value should be in the code. I can work that out and I can manipulate it while I'm playing the game. I'm sure you can appreciate how fluid that will make the game design process. Very good. So I'll take some questions at this point around Unity and how we've been using it, and we'll see how we go from there. If we have some more time, I'll add some more functionality to this pachinko game. Anyone got any questions? The what? Oh, the text size of this. Ooh. I'll put all this up on stage. I mean, I'll put all this up online. I think the thing that I'm trying to communicate with this isn't the actual code that I'm using, but just how quickly I can implement these game mechanics. Okay, I'm going to open up Coup and I'll show you how that's put together. Oh, sorry. So we made a 2D game in a 3D game engine. Why did we do that? Mostly we did it because, Unity is something that, the members of the team were good at the time. And it goes back to that idea of working with what you are productive in. This is my favorite level of the game. So, nice, pretty looking 2D game. Let's have a look and see how it looks like in the game engine. So there it is there on the side. It's basically as if you're kind of side stage at a play. That's the way I imagine it anyway, all this cardboard furniture moving in and out. I'll show you that now. Ooh, here. So we can, let's see. Can you see there the kind of the level moves in and out as he's moving around. So, give us some questions there. Yeah. Pardon? Yes, what about them? So we used... yes. How did we do the sprite animations in Coup? Again, one of the things I like about Unity is this thing that it has called the Asset Store. The Asset Store is a marketplace where you can purchase or sell additional functionality or components for Unity. And on the Asset Store, we purchased a package called Sprite Manager 2, which handles all of our animations within Unity. The way our art flow works is that everything is drawn on pencil first, then it's scanned in at a high resolution and colorized in Photoshop. Then the animations are done in Flash, and then we export the PNGs and put them back together in Sprite Manager 2 inside of Unity. This was a fairly good workflow, but the problem that it caused was because our game is so art-rich, the sprite sheets themselves are massive. Let's have a look at them here. That's... I'll find one of Cou's ones. I mean, you can see how much are there just by scrolling through this. So I mean, this is just one guy who appears in the village, and he's a guy who has relatively few animations. So that took up a huge amount of space. So one of the things that we're trying to do with the sequel is not use sprite atlases. We're going to use a bone animation rather than sprite atlases, and that should drastically reduce the file size and the texture sizes. Some other questions? Yes, or here in the front? Yeah. So the question is the way the scene moves back and forward to give the illusion of depth in the game. that's something I implemented really, really early on, and I thought I was super smart when I was doing it, and turned out to be a giant pain in the ass later on in development. I can think of several ways now that would be far, far superior and easier to work with than that. Basically, I always think of things in real-world terms. Everything on the scene is on a little stick being pushed back and forth in relation to whose position on the screen. So it makes it seem as if he can go behind objects and in front of objects. But we'll do it much better in the sequel. Like, we're going to do everything so much better in the sequel. In the back there, or in the middle? Yeah, you. Sorry, can you speak up a little bit? Okay, playing video on planes is something that that I believe you can do, but I think it's a pro feature, but we haven't done any of it in our game. In terms of managing the planes, it was quite challenging. So let's look at a level. What's a level with loads of stuff? Market. So we're going to be writing some custom tools for the sequel that will deal with this stuff a lot better. It's quite a challenge, basically, as answer the question, to deal with this number of planes in the scene. In terms of, technically it's fine. The graphics card can handle it, no problem. But in terms of a level design challenge, it can be quite tricky to work with so many objects in the scene. So we're going to create a level editor for the second one. We are. More questions? Yes, there? Did you say what was the motivation to not go full 3D? Okay, so at the very start of the development process, we thought about this. Basically, it comes down to 2D is much faster to get up and running. However, it's very inflexible once you do that. 3D modeling takes ages to get those initial beautiful models up on screen. But the advantage being once you do so, it's very easy to tweak animations. The other thing goes back to the use what you have, use what you're good at. We had a really, really good 2D artist. We have a really, really good 2D artist. And our 3D skills on the team are not up to the same level. So part of it's practical. Oh, cool. We have Mike for the crowd now. So who has the next question?
Can we see the layering system a bit more in detail, just to maximize screen, or just look at how the things are positioned?
Sure, no problem.
Seems fascinating.
It's fascinating to us. I'm trying to think of how I can do this. But I don't think I'll be able to control the dude then and create the sense of movement. Oh, there we go. Kind of. No, it's just actually moving them forward and backwards. Like I said, it's pretty hacky, like a lot of the stuff in the game. The depth script. Who wants to see some code? This is one of the very first things I wrote, so it's probably really awful. He's moving around on a 2D plane, and then the world is moving forward and backwards along the z-axis. It'll take ages to open up now. Another question?
To There's actually a question. Oh, there's a mic in the middle.
There's the depth script there. But yeah, we'd be happy to put this up online if anyone's interested in how we did it. But we're going to do it differently now, just to warn you. It comes with many problems.
So can you target Windows Store apps?
Pardon?
Can you target Windows Store apps?
We can't right now, but I believe we'll be able to do that in just a matter of weeks. So basically, it's Coup just came out is on the PC for the first time today, which is cool. Just on that note, I think if we're going to find any kind of success or stability with this sustainability with this game, it is going to be on the PC. All the data indicates that that's where the audience is and that's where the sales are. So right now we're going to be putting it out as a regular Windows game, and as soon as we can get into the Unity closed beta for their Windows 8 builder, we're going to put it out for Windows 8 tablets. Hopefully, we hope to see that happen within a matter of days, not months. It's been doing pretty good. So, I mean, there's different ways of looking at that. For me, the best thing is that it was picked as Edge's iOS game of the month. I've been reading Edge for 10 years, and to see something that I worked on be featured there is amazing, In terms of sales, it's ticking along. Our strategy is, to have it available in as many places as possible, and hopefully find some success in that.
Hey, you were on Steam Greenlight, weren't you?
We are on Steam Greenlight.
Is that going well?
It's going very well. We were one of the first 5 games to get on Steam Greenlight. However, if you guys want to do something to support us and the rest of the Irish games industry, you should go onto Steam Greenlight this evening and vote for both us and Batcat's game there. That would be, that's a way that you can support the burgeoning Irish fragile games industry right now without spending any money. If you want to spend any money, buy P3 Biotic, buy King Croc, buy Coup. They all only cost a couple of bucks. So why not? Go for it. Next. So iPad, he was asking about releasing on mobile first rather than a simultaneous release.
Sorry, he's actually asked me to repeat the question. I was just wondering, did you find was it better releasing on mobile first and help you gain traction for releasing on PC, or to be discovered as?
Absolutely. iPad is currently pretty much the smallest games market that there is. So releasing first on a small platform, it makes a lot of tactical sense for a small studio like ours. That's a place where we can get some feedback on the game, fix it, tweak it. In the first 3 weeks of it being out there, we did 4 updates and changed the game in terms of the way it plays in a fairly significant way. And as a result of releasing a little earlier than we could have, we managed to get to a better game faster than not doing so. I guess what I'm trying to say is having a way to get player feedback is the most valuable thing in terms of improving your game. And to do that, releasing on a singular mobile device is the way to go. So now we feel that with the PC release coming up, we have a really great game.
I was just wondering, how did you find coming up with designing touchscreen controls compared to standard controls for the PC?
It's a real challenge. It's just, this is not a new thing to say, but they just don't have the accuracy as an Xbox controller. So one of the things that we've been working on a lot over the last month is having really good Xbox controller support in the game. The touchscreen controls, basically what you have to do is make the game really, really easy, and then make it easier again. But we changed the way it worked. Did you use Unity?
Yes.
Yeah, it used to work with the raycast, and it would just analyze what you were touching and act upon that. We had to change that though because especially when we were moving it down onto smaller screens to a sausage cast. So it casts a sausage into the screen, analyze everything around that sausage, and then pick it based on a prioritized list.
Sausage into Unity and I'll recognize it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's actually called a sphere cast, but it's not really a sphere, it's a sausage. Any other questions? In the back? Sorry, what was that?
Hi, Owen.
Hey.
I'm just wondering what areas of Unity you found difficult to use, or what areas you change.
What would I change? They've been talking about Unity 2D for quite a while, and I know it is still on their roadmap, but I'd love to see like a fully integrated 2D support, just because I really like 2D games. I like playing 2D games and I like making 2D games. So that's something that's on their roadmap at the moment, and I hope to see it sooner rather than later. Anyone else?
How much has the game changed from when you had it as a browser to
A lot. So I guess we started this back in August of 2011, and we had the game at what we thought was kind of 80% completion when we were at this event last year. And we took that build to GDC, and we had a great experience bringing it over there. John Romero played our game and said it was awesome, and that's the coolest thing that's ever happened. But we also, we ended up learning a huge amount over there, and we scrapped a lot of what was there. We completely changed the way combat system worked, we completely changed the way the control system worked, and we redid all of our level design up until that point, and nearly all of the art as well. So a lot, yeah. But I mean, going back to the whole Unity thing, it does make it very easy to iterate and tweak and change that kind of stuff. The binary scenes, the way you can't merge the scenes on Git has caused us some problems. So like collaboration is something that's getting easier with Unity. When they went for the meta files, you know, that was a right step in the right direction, but collaboration is still something that we are struggling with.
How well does Unity handle mobile game development, or more broadly, when you're creating a game for multi-platforming, how well does it iterate throughout the platforms?
The main concern has been resolution. Is that right, Robbie? Yeah. I mean, all of the actual game logic is pretty platform neutral. You know, we developed the game on PC, like it was built on PCs, so we did the majority of testing with mouse and keyboard. In terms of bringing it onto the different devices, the biggest challenge by far has just been, you know, the variable resolutions.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just wondering if you had any advice regarding promotion or publicity and such.
Jeez, I should ask you lads that. Does anyone have any advice? So I guess getting your game out as early as possible is something that has worked quite well for us. Showing your game is a difficult thing to do, certainly for me. So I would recommend getting over that and showing it from the very first day of development. Getting on places like Reddit do Screenshot Saturday on their game dev forum, and that's a great way to just show your game from the very, very start. And then engaging with the local community You know, Microsoft have been a great help to us. Games Ireland have been a great help to us. And the other developers around us, like we work with in the Digit Games building, Digit have been a huge help. Batcat, who we work beside, have been a huge help. So summing it all up, getting your game out there early and engaging with the local community. I have time for one more question? No, I think you absolutely should do it. I think now is the best time to be making games. You know, the tools are free, the routes to market are open. There's new challenges that weren't there, you know, a few years ago when everything was closed up. But I'd much rather be dealing with these challenges than those ones. I guess the main piece of advice I would say is just start. You know, just start making games. And I wouldn't be focused on, you know, making anything revolutionary or anything like super gonna make you rich with the first one. Just pick something super small, build it as quickly as you can and release it and see what happens. Cool. Well, thank you so much, guys. I hope that was interesting. I don't know if it was. If anyone has any questions about what we've done with Unity itself, BitSmith, or if you just want to have a chat, please feel free to come on up. And myself and Paul and Robbie are here as well, and we'll try and help you out in however we can. Thank you so much.